There we go. We talk weeklies after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
classy lady Sparkle
and the beautiful
Lady Esther.
And we are here. You already know what's coming up next. We got she had to. You don't want good news? Yes, we do.
Y'all just was like, you sure you got just good news?
I know, right?
All that.
No
Right.
well, you ready for?
Subconsciously, we was trying not to hear all that bad
I
news.
know, right? That's what it was. That's my. So, you ready for me?
I'm ready.
All right, give it to me early, no doubt.
All right. Gentrification in West Philly is making it harder for longtime residents to stay in their homes because guess what's about to happen? Property taxes are going to go up. Mayor Cherelle Parker announced that homeowners will see an average increase on about $330 on their tax bill due mandatory on property reevaluations. For many in this historical Black and brown community where wages have been kept pace for the cost of living, the increase feels like an added burden. Although the mayor emphasizes that the extra funds will support public schools, residents are worried about how they'll manage the rising costs. They feel like it won't be enough to protect those at most risk. So homes will become more valuable on paper, but the very people who built their communities might be priced out, losing not just their homes, but their sense of belonging. The gentrification process, coupled with rising property taxes, specifically in the West and Southwest Philadelphia area, push longtime residents out. The mayor's approach, though legally mandated, raises concerns about equity and the protection of marginalized communities in the face of economic pressures. It's hard to ignore the human toll on those who could least afford it. What do y'all think about that? Southwest and West Philly's, even if you're in the, I don't think it's called homestead or tax abatement. They're saying to you, if you're on a fixed income or anything, they're saying that the city has either been paying taxes for the people or really no one's been paying, and now they have to go up on the price.
That makes sense. People aren't paying their taxes. People do not pay their house taxes. And then it gets higher and higher and higher, and then it's like, then they're upset when they're getting pushed out. But there are so many people who don't pay it.
But at the same time, if you peel back them layers, it's like, why are they not paying? Is it resources for the right type of jobs? Has minimum wage been minimum wage been raised? Yeah. Like, it's almost like the one is a byproduct, but what's the primary cause? You know what I'm saying? Like, they going up on taxes, but nobody's getting other kind of resources. Like,
I think it's a mix.
Are there more jobs available?
I think it's a mix of not being able to afford it, and then the ones that get it and put it aside and say, I'm gonna take care of it, because it's annual, right? It's a bill you get once a year. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get to it,
right?
And now they don't know where it's at.
But even if you think about with Cherelle Parker making everybody go back into the city, you got to pay for SEPTA now. You got to pay for childcare, like money that you said, okay, I'll try to allocate it to that. But now you in struggle mode. You trying to get to work. Now you got to eat. You got to either take your lunch. You got to pay for lunch. So it's like,
but that's not new.
What's not new?
What? Like
having to go to work is not new.
Right.
What you had a break from having to do it for 2 years, but now
no. We're not going to say break, because it wasn't a break. It wasn't a break. The world went through. That wasn't a break.
No. But if you were accustomed to getting up, going to work every day, and getting on SEPTA and packing your lunch or whatever the case, you were in that routine. You were probably in that routine for 10, 20, 30 years. So then to not have to do it for 2-3 years and now have to go back to it.
But businesses were still productive. And on the other side, it's like they're doing it for their benefit because they want you to pour more money into the city.
Oh yeah,
it's like so many people already had remote jobs, like Google, Yahoo, the Silicon people,
right.
And then now common folk now started to work from home, and they like, oh, y'all getting too comfortable, because honestly, people were being more productive. You know, you do have that small pod of people who weren't doing what they were supposed to do, but you know, consequences make them come back in. But whatever it is, they're telling you to come back in, not for you, not for your work balance, but for them.
It's for the company. It's not for you, it's for the company.
Yeah, so that's why. So I think that's to the point of y'all telling us that you're rising things, but what are they giving to civilians? Like, what are they giving to common folk?
Chicken and Pete's French fries.
I know.
And burritos
at the toll booths.
All right.
100% agree with you, Spark. 100%.
Yeah. All right. That wasn't good news.
Clearly.
Yeah.
This is not good news, but I guess how you look at it. All right. So a few months ago, I shared the story of a tragic incident where a 60-year-old woman in Florida, she shot and killed a black mother in front of her children. I don't know if y'all remember that story. The heartbreaking event started with a disagreement over the kids playing outside, but it was quickly turned into something much more serious. As I followed the trial, it was clear that this was more than just a case of self-defense. A Florida jury found 60-year-old Susan Lawrence guilty of manslaughter with a firearm, killing 35-year-old Ajaki Owens, known as AJ. She was a black mother of 4. The shooting occurred after Owens knocked on Lauren's door during a dispute about the children playing near Lauren's home. Lawrence claims that it was self-defense, saying that she feared that Owens would break in and attack her. However, the prosecution argued that Owens was unarmed and that Lauren's actions showed reckless disregard for life. As the verdict was read, Lawrence, I think I'm pronouncing her name right. Lawrence remained emotionless, while Owen's family was devastated. The defense argued that Lawrence has health issues and she lives alone and had to protect herself. But the prosecution kept pushing that this deadly force was not justified.
That's right.
The case was ignited discussions on Florida's self-defense laws. That's what them Floridians think.
Yeah.
that self-defense law is going to help them. Yeah. So the discussion on Florida's self-defense laws and racial bias. Lawrence faces up to 30 years in prison, and she's waiting for sentencing to be scheduled. Crump is their lawyer. Yeah. This was when I covered this story, it was 4 kids who they live in like an apartment complex, and they were playing outside, and then somebody threw like their balls or something, football or something, and it went in her on her lawn. Okay. And she was just one of those older women. I mean, you grow up with them that just don't want the kids around, don't feel like being bothered. Like the old cat that be like, don't pet me.
But you take a gun, though?
No, that's what they're saying. But the mother came over and was just, knocked on the door. And I think she shot through the door.
She shot through the door.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah. So
that's how there's no defense with that. She wasn't directly in front of you. It was a door that you shot through. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you can defend it.
Yeah, she didn't come through the door.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have just not answered the door.
Pretty much.
All right, so
how about you call the cops if you're that scared?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. She was ready.
She was in the house and shot
through the door.
Oh, I'm thinking the person outside shot inside.
No,
she was inside and shot outside.
The old lady, the white lady, 60-year-old. She was in her house. The mother came and knocked on the door.
Oh, and she just fired.
The old lady, yeah. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Yeah. All right. This next story is Glenn Simmons, who holds the grim record of the longest time incarcerated before being exonerated in U.S. history. Wow. He has reached a partial settlement with Edmond, Oklahoma, nearly 50 years after his wrongful conviction.
50 years, wow.
50 years.
I hope whatever number you say has 50 in it, but go ahead.
Nope.
Double.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 50 years. Simmons, who was just 22 years old at the time of his incarceration, and I think I told you how old he is, 71. So Simmons, who was just 22 years old at the time of his incarceration, spent a staggering 48 years behind bars. That's like 1976. Before being wrongfully convicted of the murder of Carolyn Rogers, who was killed at an Edmond liquor store in 1974.
Do you have the color of her?
She's a white woman.
Okay.
Yeah. Despite lacking physical evidence linking him to the crime scene. Now, you heard that part. There was no physical evidence linking him to the crime scene. And he had multiple alibi witnesses. The Edmond City Council agreed to a $7.2 million settlement. So he got $7.2 million. Through the settlement came without an admission of liability. Simmons, who is now 71, has been living with cancer since 2021. He plans to use the settlement funds to continue his treatment and improve his quality of life. So District Judge Amy Palabel's ruling confirmed Simmons innocent and stating that the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that the offense for which Mr. Simmons was convicted was not committed by Mr. Simmons. His attorney, Elizabeth Wang, noted Mr. Simmons spent a tragic amount of time incarcerated for a crime that he did not commit,
That's right.
emphasizing the profound injustice Simmons endured. Despite the financial compensation, Simmons reflects that what happened can't be undone, but there can be accountability, and remains uncertain that the future as he awaits ongoing claims against other defendants.
What color was the judge? Do you know?
In 1974?
No, this new judge.
I'm not sure, but it looks like District Judge Amy Palumbos, Palumbos, Palumbos.
Okay.
So, and then his lawyer name is Elizabeth Wang.
So shout out to her. What was the judge name? Let me Google her real quick.
The judge name is Amy Palumbo, Palumbo. Yeah.
Palumbo.
Yep. Amy Palumbo.
Yeah, it looks like. Hold on. Let me put judge in front of it.
Judge Amy Palumbo. Looks like Edmond, Oklahoma.
Yes, it looks like she's of the Caucasian persuasion, and I am extremely thankful for her for righting a wrong. So thank you for that, Amy Palumbo. Amy, right?
Amy, yeah.
Amy Palumbo. Thank you for that. And Miss Wang, right?
Elizabeth Wang, his attorney.
His attorney. Thank you for that.
You know, when you said, 50 years, it should be a 50 in there. I mean, it should be somewhere stated you get $1 million
every
year.
Yep.
Something. I mean, there's people who've been exonerated. Pennsylvania. My sister, she has United for Strife.
Right? Didn't you say he got 71.2 million?
He got 7 point.
7.
Oh, just 7?
Yes.
Yeah, $7.2 million.
Yes.
7.2.
Yeah. And he's been in there for 50 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, and Pennsylvania has...
That's not enough.
No,
that's not
enough.
Pennsylvania exonerees, it's in the bylaws or whatever it is, they do not get paid. It's other states that if you get exonerated and you didn't commit the crime, they pay you. They have their amount. Pennsylvania does not have that.
Trash.
So you can let people go and say, "Oh, we're sorry,"
my
and
bad.
they'll give them a dime.
They can just be like, "My bad."
They can take it to civil court, but it doesn't guarantee that they'll get paid. But how you going to say I was wrong and not give them money?
You give them money, but to me, it's never enough.
Yeah. Never, but at least you're getting something. Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, they don't get nothing.
Yeah. It's never enough. And then because time, you can't get back time.
Yeah.
You go in at 22, and you come out in your 70s. Your life is gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Should be
at this point,
and he has cancer.
Yeah, at this point, you have to pay me because I don't have no Social Security or no pension or nothing.
What if they paid you nothing?
Time, so you have to pay me just so I can live the rest of my life out here.
What if they paid nothing and still said that they're exonerated? They feel like you should just be happy we letting you go for a crime you didn't even commit.
Oh, you gotta eat that.
Yeah.
Nah. $1 million a year.
Do we know how they found out he didn't do it?
I'm not sure, but there are processes that people who are on death row, that they have someone else look at it and comb it, and I'm quite sure that may have happened with him.
So it's this show that I love watching, all those crime shows, but there's one that what they've been doing is they picked a handful of cases, and I don't know how they picked these cases, but they pick a handful of cases from years ago, right? Because technology has advanced so much, because back then, they did the dusting of the fingerprints and stuff like that, but that was it. DNA is very new. So stuff that happened in the 70s, DNA wasn't a thing then where they could look for. So now they have like a handful of cases that they pick, and they're pulling them back open, and then they're checking actual DNA and stuff like that, and they're finding out that people that they've charged were not the real murderers or whatever, or, you know, and that's how a lot of this stuff is unfolding.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they select the cases. And in situations like that where someone feels or knows they didn't do something, I feel like that's the first step. They should be like, hello, me over here.
They have something called the project.
Redo mine.
They have something called the Project Innocence or Innocent Project, and they have a system where if you're on death row, I think after 5 years or something, somebody outside of the state is supposed to look at it, which with non-biased eyes, and then comb through it. Which in his case, when you ask me how did they find out, they found it because suppressed evidence that had been hidden for decades. This included supporting alibis he had. They didn't take none of his alibis, none of his witnesses into consideration, although they took witnesses from
the other side.
Yeah, and there was no physical evidence. So no physical evidence, nothing that linked him to it.
Unbelievable.
I guess they just saw a body, a black man, a white woman dead.
So this was the good news that he was out.
Yes.
Just check. Gotta check with Sparks.
I'm not gonna do it like that. Oh man.
Good news. He out and got 7.2 mil.
Nah, that right there, I don't know. Cause I know he like, yo, that's I think it should be $1 million a year.
His story alone was good news and bad news.
Yeah,
good news
it
is
was.
out. Bad news is you ain't get that much bread.
Somebody needs to make
put that back up. See, you had the I noticed her good news, bad news sign on the side. You got the good news with the happy face, and then the bad news at the front. We need to start having people vote which one they fit. Let the listeners click on what they thought the story was.
That was your good news and your bad news from Classy Lady Sparkle.
Good news and bad news from Classy Lady Sparkle. I'm your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And the beautiful
Lady S. Dot.
And the beautiful there you go. It's on to y'all too. All right, so what you got? Well, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to say don't go nowhere, but I need you to go somewhere into next Saturday.
Next week,
and we'll be here, and we're gonna have some more dynamic interviews. Am I here next week? I think I'm still here next week. And so we're gonna have some more dynamic interviews. We're gonna have some more good news and bad news, maybe the sizzle, and we're gonna continue doing what we do, and really appreciate what you guys have been doing. You've been supporting, following us, and we've been making a lot of momentum, and we're not going anywhere. We here like last year. Where they at? They right there. Hey, that's right. Charles Gregory in the building. We talk weekly, and we out here like last year.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah.